For generations, ABBA devotees have existed with unanswered questions about the truth of the group's success, tragedy, and ultimate breakup. Now, at age 79, Bjorn Ulvaeus has finally talked, revealing secrets about Agnetha Fältskog that many never thought they would hear. Was their idyllic romance truly as perfect as it appeared? Or was the agony in the music far more profound than anyone dreamed? From behind-the-scenes struggles while touring to admissions regarding their divorce, what Bjorn exposed sheds the glitter and reveals the bare tale of ABBA's most intimate battles. If this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel Spark Science, and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started. When ABBA initially gained fame, the romance between Bjorn Ulvaeus and Agnetha Fältskog appeared like the ideal fairy tale. Two awesomely beautiful musicians, both with bundles of talent, who not only fell in love but formed one of the most successful bands on earth. Viewers everywhere gazed at them and beheld the essence of all they could ever hope for in their own lives: romance, success, and artistic collaboration all in one dazzling bundle. They had a palpable chemistry on stage, and it seemed so easy. With each show, Bjorn's concise songwriting and Agnetha's golden, expressive voice joined together into something enchanting, making the audience believe the love they performed was actual. The magic was strong, and the people believed it with all their hearts. One of the reasons the image of the relationship lingered so strongly in the people's minds was that ABBA's songs frequently portrayed the themes of love, longing, and closeness. To most listeners, the songs seemed like they came from life, nearly autobiography. When Agnetha sang a ballad of brokenness, or when the band sang a fun anthem about the happiness of love, fans believed it was straight from their life experiences. Magazines, newspapers, and TV shows supported this belief, portraying them as the pop music golden couple. Outside, Bjorn and Agnetha embodied the ideal of having it all: the love of millions, creative success, and a close personal relationship. But from the outside, what appeared to be glamour and perfection was, inside, already starting to break down. Behind the grins and the glittering stage outfits, fissures were starting to appear in their relationship. Traveling endlessly, juggling press obligations, and bearing the heavy weight of maintaining worldwide success put toxic strain on them. Fans were seeing synchronized dance steps, glittering costumes, and chart-topping hits, but what the couple was living was exhaustion, emotional distance, and rising miscommunication. Worse, the media obsession with their romance turned into a kind of cage. The fans weren't satisfied with merely listening to the music, they wanted all of their lives, and the tabloids obliged by creating stories that made their marriage seem better than it actually was. Bjorn and Agnetha felt as if the pressure to maintain that illusion was crushing them. Every time they ventured out in public, they weren't merely artists; whatever they did, they were supposed to be perfect lovers. Agnetha, who was a sensitive soul, felt the pressure acutely. She was envied as the spouse of an ABBA star, worshipped as a pop icon, but in fact she struggled to contain the brutal demands of stardom alongside motherhood. Bjorn, on the other hand, grew increasingly matter-of-fact and emotionally remote, valuing productivity in their work at the expense of fostering the emotional connection in their marriage. Love slowly cooled into a form of partnership of convenience, where each fulfilled their function but the glue underneath it was losing its stick. But to millions of fans, all of this was invisible. They still wrote letters, papered walls with posters, and fantasized about a life as flawless as they imagined for their heroes. That is why, when the news of their divorce revealed itself at last, it didn't register like just a marriage breakup, it registered like the breaking of a shared dream. When Bjorn and Agnetha's breakup was made public, fans worldwide were betrayed. ABBA wasn't simply a band, it was a narrative constructed on love, harmony, and survival. Their breakup seemed to proclaim that the magic had expired. Agnetha subsequently revealed she was taken by surprise at Bjorn's sudden action. Although there had been arguments for years, she never expected him to leave so precipitously. Bjorn confessed afterwards that it was his decision and he treated it callously, merely saying he was leaving without much debate. For Agnetha, this was calamitous. Already struggling with the demands of motherhood and international stardom, the sudden breakdown of her marriage left her psychologically dazed. But she continued to sing, smile, and perform with her former husband in front of millions. Loneliness gripped her behind the scenes, while she maintained a shiny persona on stage. Introverted and sensitive, she immersed herself in bouts of depression and debilitating anxiety. Each show reminded her of her devastation, each song reminding her of her loss. The marriage had not just impacted them but the entire band. Despite trying to be professional, tension hung in the air. Their smiles tightened, their looks frosty, and even Benny Andersson and Annifrid Lyngstad felt the tension. Amidst this gloom, though, one of ABBA's most poignant songs was created. The Winner Takes It All was not only a ballad but also an echo of their broken marriage. Composed by Bjorn in a night of whiskey confessions, it embodied the loss, guilt, and sorrow he couldn't otherwise convey. Although he swore it wasn't literally about his divorce, the similarities were too intense to be denied. When Agnetha saw the words, she cried. To sing it was an agony, but her voice could also imbue the song with the depth it needed. Thus, she performed one of the most memorable vocal performances of all time. Each note was resigned, broken-hearted, and strong, as if torn from her very being. The credibility was irreproachable, and listeners across the globe felt as if they were watching something tragical happening in front of them in real time. Some claimed it was inhumane to subject her to relive the pain every night, but Bjorn felt that the song was all the more powerful because of her emotional honesty. Whatever the intention, Agnetha's vocal delivery canonized their heartbreak, and the song became one of the most iconic breakup songs in history. But success came with other scars, especially for Agnetha. As much as she was loved for her voice, the media relentlessly objectified her. An infamous interview in the late 70s asked her not about music, but if she was proud to have been elected as having the sexiest bottom. She was belittled to a body part rather than being treated with the respect of an artist. Costume designer Ingmarie Halling has subsequently admitted it was humiliating, and feminist writer Germaine Greer described it as undeserving. For Agnetha, this perpetual objectification contributed to her insecurities. Traveling, especially in Australia, drove her into a state of panic. Fans were hysterical, screaming, and pursuing them to the extent that she did not feel safe. Behind her smile, she was suffering. As a mother, she felt caught between ABBA's grueling schedule and her wish to be back with her children, Linda and Peter. She would cry at night, tormented by guilt, frozen by fear of separation. Fame, once a dream, had turned into a trap. Her paranoia worsened. She was afraid of stalkers, kidnappings, plane accidents, infidelity, nightmares that intensified to the point they became a part of her everyday life. Bjorn attempted to reassure her, but ultimately exhausted himself. Practical and methodical by nature, he retreated when faced with her suffocating fears. His withdrawal to her was abandonment. Their marriage was now a void performance, a partnership that only existed for the sake of the group. Gossip of infidelity, real or imagined, only added to her despair. The fire that had driven both their relationship and their music was extinguished and replaced with sadness and loss that infused ABBA's later work. As ABBA dissolved in the early 80s, both Bjorn and Agnetha took starkly differing paths. Life fell apart further for Agnetha. Already vulnerable, she grappled with loneliness, dysfunctional relationships, and unendurable tragedies, such as the suicides of both parents within a few months of one another. She isolated herself from the public, her anxieties turning into paranoia. Relationships with athletes, designers, even a psychiatrist, all ended in failure, leaving her even more exposed. Her marriage to surgeon Thomas Sonnenfeld later failed, too. Meanwhile, Bjorn rebuilt his life. Only a year after he divorced Agnetha, he wed music journalist Lena Kallersjo, discovering in her the stability he had previously missed. Artistically, he prospered, working with Benny Andersson on the stage musical Chess and subsequently assisting with the launch of Mamma Mia. A global phenomenon that made ABBA's music accessible to a whole new generation. For decades ABBA was stuck in time. Their memory lived on in stage shows and movies, but the band itself was silent. Everyone wished for a reunion, but it was impossible, particularly with Agnetha's retirement from public life. And then, in 2021, something miraculous occurred. ABBA unveiled Voyage, their first studio record in 4 decades, along with an imaginative virtual concert in London. The world was left reeling. They had vowed for years they would never get back together, and here they were. When the four appeared together along the red carpet in 2022, fans who had borne their music all their lives cried openly. Voyage wasn't about removing the past but respecting it. Its songs had themes of memory, reconciliation, and time. For Bjorn and Agnetha, being on stage together once more was not about reigniting romance but a recognition of the history that tied them together for life. Bjorn confessed the creative process was a tearful one, and Agnetha returned to music, though her scars were still there. For followers, it was like uncovering hidden treasure, a miracle they never imagined would be theirs. ABBA's music might be bright, but beneath the tunes is a tale of heartbreak, sacrifice, and reality. Bjorn's revelations about Agnetha are a reminder that even the most fairy tale love stories have worst-case realities. Behind the shiny costumes and flawless harmonies were two individuals suffering from fear, loss, and the agony of being icons. And yet, out of their pain, they created for the world songs that will forever last.